Students, I am Shahnaz and I am here with the second chapter of chemistry, that is matter around us pure? Now in the first chapter we have already studied about the definition of matter. What is matter? Matter is anything that occupies space and has mass. So whatever things around us like table, chair, air, water, all these things are matter. Now in this chapter we will learn something more about matter. First of all, we will classify matter. Now we can classify matter in two ways. First one, on the basis of physical state. Now in the first chapter we have already studied about the properties of solid, liquid and gas, right? So on the basis of that physical state, matter can be classified into three types, that is solid, liquid and gas. Now the substance which falls under the properties of solid, or the substance which have all the properties of solid, can be considered as solid. Suppose if I take a compass box, if I keep that compass box on a table, it will occupy space, and if I measure its mass, yes, it has mass. It means compass box is a solid. In the same way, the substance which has the property of liquid or gas can be put under that category. Now second way of classification of matter is on the basis of chemical composition. Matter is classified into two main types. They are pure substance and mixture. Now what is the meaning of chemical composition? If the matter is made up of the substance, that substance, then the constituent particles of that substance is called chemical composition. Suppose if I say oxygen, then oxygen, that is O2. O2 is made up of oxygen atoms. In the same way, anything which is made up of some constituent particles, that is its chemical composition. Now on the basis of chemical composition, matter can be classified as pure substance and mixture. Now the meaning of pure substance in our day-to-day life and meaning of pure substance in science are different. Then we further classify pure substance into two types. They are elements and compounds. And mixture can be further classified into two types. They are homogeneous mixtures and heterogeneous mixtures. Now we will see the definition of pure substance and the mixture. As I told you, in our day-to-day life, the meaning of pure substance means something which does not have any impurity. In daily life, that is pure substance for us. Suppose milk is pure if water is not mixed in it, or our drinking water is considered as pure if it is RO water or aquaguard water. If it is directly coming from tap, we say it is impure water. But in science, the meaning of pure substance is entirely different. In science, pure substance means pure substance is a substance which consists of a single type of substance, that is element or compound. Now what does it mean? It means that anything which is made up of a single type of substance. For example, we take nitrogen. Nitrogen is made up of N2, okay, N2 molecule. Entire composition of nitrogen is made up of N2. So nitrogen is pure substance. Same way, water. Water means H2O. It means although it consists of two different atoms, hydrogen and oxygen, but the entire composition of water consists of H2O molecules only. Wherever you go and see water, it will be only H2O. It will the molecule will found in the form of H2O only, and this hydrogen and oxygen cannot be separated by any physical method. So water is a compound and water is also a pure substance. It means pure substance is a substance which is made up of only single type of substance. It means you cannot separate two different substance from it by any physical method. And examples of pure substance are iron, copper, hydrogen, oxygen, water, sugar, common salt, etc. Now, definition of mixture. Mixture is a substance which consists of two or more pure substances. For example, seawater, minerals, soil, air, sand and salt, sugar in water, salt in water, etc. Now, please try to understand the difference between pure substance and mixture clearly. First, I'll explain you what is mixture. When two different things are mixed physically in such a way that we can separate it by any physical process, then that substance is called mixture. If you mix salt and sugar, then that composition you can say it is mixture, because sugar and salt are separate although we have mixed in it, and we can separate them by any physical method. In the same way, pure water is pure substance, but when sugar is mixed in water, then it becomes mixture. When sugar is mixed with water, no chemical reaction is taking place between water and sugar. They are simply mixed physically, and we can separate them by simple evaporation. When you will boil, water will evaporate and sugar will left behind in the form of crystals. So sugar in water is also a mixture. In the same way, soil, soil contain different parts of small and big stones, clay particles, sand particles. So soil is also a mixture. Even air. Now in air, although it looks that everything is uniformly mixed, but air consists of different gases such as oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, and every gas has its own property. In air, all the gases are mixed, but actually they are separate. They can be separated. They are not chemically mixed with each other. So air is also a mixture. Now, difference between pure substance and mixture. First point, pure substance consists of a single type of substance, whereas mixture consists of two or more pure substances. Second, pure substance cannot be separated into other substance by physical method, and mixture can be separated into its components by physical method. Third, pure substance has its own definite properties, whereas mixture shows the property of its component. Now in the last point is mixture has its own definite property. Means entire mixture, pure substance has its own property. Entire pure substance has same property. Whereas when you take the mixture, then mixture possess properties of its components. Means if you take the mixture of water and sugar, then properties of water and properties of sugar are separate, and when you will mix both, then also they will retain their property. They will not chemically mix with each other, and their properties will not change. So in mixture, the components have their own property. After mixing also, their properties are not changing. Now we will see type of mixtures. Mixtures are of two types. They are homogeneous mixture and heterogeneous mixture. Now first we will see what is homogeneous mixture. Homogeneous mixture is a mixture which has a uniform composition. Means in homogeneous mixture, two substances are mixed, but they are mixed in such a way that the composition is uniform in the entire mixture. Like if you mix salt in water, when you stir it, the salt will completely dissolve in water, and then after it will disappear. It means you cannot say in one part of water more salt is there, and in another part of water less salt is there. Salt is uniformly mixed with the entire bulk of water. So such mixture is called homogeneous mixture. Now there are certain properties of homogeneous mixture. We will see through it. First one is the particle of mixture are not visible by naked eye. So when you mix two substances and they mix in such a way that you cannot see the particles of its composition separately, like in salt and water, after mixing you cannot find out the particles of salt because it is mixed uniformly, so it is not visible with our naked eye. Same way, the particles cannot be separated by filtration. Yes, the particles are so nicely dissolved in the substance that they cannot be seen with the naked eye. Mostly in homogeneous mixture, one solvent and another solute is mixed, and it is mixed in such a way that all the particles are completely mixed in it and they are not seen separately, and they can neither be separated by simple physical method, that is filtration. Then the mixture is stable. Means what does it mean, the mixture is stable? It means that if you keep the mixture for a long time undisturbed on a table or on any surface, then the particles of solute will not settle down. If you take a mixture of water and salt, you dissolve salt in water and then you keep it for hours, it will remain in the form of mixture only. The particles of salt will not settle down. So such mixture is called stable mixture. So homogeneous mixture is stable. Now one more property is there. The path of beam of light is not visible in mixture. Now you can do this practically also. You take a glass of water, clean water, and put some salt in it and dissolve it. Then you take a torch, or even you can use your mobile torch, mobile battery, and try to pass the beam of light through the glass of salt solution, and just try to observe inside that glass. You will find that the light which is passing through glass is not visible. You cannot see the path of light. See, when some light is coming from a window, when the window is open little bit, or when any hole is there, and when sunlight is coming inside the room, then that path of light is visible because of dust particles floating in the air. So then that effect is known as Tyndall effect. You must have heard that. So homogeneous solution will not show the Tyndall effect. It means the light of the path of beam of light is not visible in the mixture. And examples of mixture are mixture of sugar in water, mixture of salt in water, and mixture of copper sulfate in water. Now I will show you how, when the beam of light is passed through the mixture, how it looks. See, in this first figure you can see in the first test tube, light is passed through both the test tube. In first test tube you cannot see the path of light, and in the second test tube you can see this path of light. It means first one is mixture in which path of light is not visible. Now what is heterogeneous mixture? Heterogeneous mixture is a mixture which has a non-uniform composition. Now what is the meaning of non-uniform composition? You take a glass of water and take a chalk and grind it and convert it into powder, and the powder of chalk you mix with a glass of water and you stir it. Water and chalk powder will mix, but if you observe carefully you will find chalk particles floating in the water. It means the chalk particles are not uniformly mixed in water. At some place you will find more chalk particles, and at other place you will find less chalk particles. It means you can find the particles of chalk with your naked eye. Then if you allow the mixture to settle for some time, you will see that all the chalk particles will settle down and you will find pure water at the top. It means this mixture is unstable, and the particles can be separated by filtration. If you want to separate chalk particles and water, again simple, by filtration process, by using filter paper you can separate both the things. it means this mixture is heterogeneous mixture. And if you stir chalk particles, again the chalk particles will start floating, and when you allow a beam of light to pass through that mixture, you will see the path of light like this. See, if you allow a beam of light to pass through chalk particles, see this, you will see the path of light in this way. See, like this. You can try this at home by using mobile torch also. It means these chalk particles are actually reflecting the light, and so the path of light is visible. So once again we can go through the difference between homogeneous mixture and heterogeneous mixture. Homogeneous mixture is a mixture which has uniform composition. In heterogeneous mixture there is non-uniform composition. Homogeneous mixture, particles are not visible with naked eye. Heterogeneous mixture, particles are visible with naked eye. Homogeneous mixture, particles cannot be separated by filtration. Heterogeneous mixture, it can be separated by filtration. Homogeneous mixtures are stable, heterogeneous mixtures are unstable, and the path of light of the path of beam of light is not visible in homogeneous mixture, whereas it is visible in heterogeneous mixture. Now mixtures can be of different types, that is true, it is also in the form of true solution or colloidal solution or suspension. First we will see the definition of true solution. A true solution is a homogeneous mixture of two or more substances. Okay, now when two or more substances are mixed, the solution which the mixture which is formed, it can be said as homogeneous also and heterogeneous also. But you have to remember, true solution is homogeneous mixture. It means that two substances completely or uniformly mix with each other. Okay, a solution has a solvent and solute. Okay, true solution has solvent. Solvent means mostly it is liquid and solute is solid as its components. Actually solvent is present in more quantity and solute is present in less quantity. The component in the larger amount is solvent and the component in the lesser amount is solute. Now I will give you example of true solution so that you can understand. When you take a glass of water and put one teaspoon of sugar in it and mix it, the solution or the mixture which you will get is actually true solution. Now you can easily see that that mixture is homogeneous mixture. You cannot identify particles of sugar separately in the solution, right? And in this solution the amount of water is in larger quantity. So here water is solvent and sugar is solute. So such mixtures are called true solution. Example of true solution are solution of salt in water, solution of sugar in water, then iodine in water, that is tincture iodine, and soda water. Now iodine in water is purple type color is there, but when you mix iodine in water you will find homogeneous mixture. You cannot separately find the floating particles of iodine in water. So it is also a true solution. So remember, true solution is a homogeneous mixture and it is made up of solute and solvent, where the quantity of solvent is more and quantity of solute is less. And true solution is different from pure substance. True solution is not a pure substance, it is a mixture. It is a homogeneous mixture. Now we will see another type of mixture which is known as colloidal solution. A colloidal solution is a heterogeneous mixture of two or more substances. Now colloidal solution is also mixture, but it is different from true solution. The colloidal solution is heterogeneous mixture, whereas true solution is homogeneous mixture. Now we will see some examples of colloidal solution. Mixture of starch in water, mixture of egg albumin in water, milk, air containing dust and smoke are colloidal solution. Now the best example is milk. You just see, take milk in a glass and observe it. You will find that you will not able to separate the constituent particles of milk. We feel like milk consists of same kind of particles. We feel like milk is true solution, but it is homogeneous mixture. It is made up of different type of particles. Now if you try to see milk particles with naked eye, then also you will find that the composition is uniformly spread. And if you keep milk for 1 hour also on the table, the particles of milk will not settle down, right? Now take a beam of light, I mean you take a torch or a mobile light and try to pass through milk. You will see that the particles of milk will scatter the particles of light, and so the path of light is visible in the milk. You will able to see the path of light in milk like this. See, in this way you will able to see the path of light in milk. You can do this at home. You should do this at home so that you yourself can examine how the path of light is visible, right? Now we will see some properties of colloidal solution. Colloidal solution is heterogeneous mixture. The particles cannot be seen by the naked eye. The solute particles cannot be separated by filtration. You take the example of milk only. You try to filter the milk through filter paper. You will not able to separate white particles and liquid in the milk. It is uniformly mixed. Then the solute particles do not settle and the solution is stable. So colloidal solution, although it is heterogeneous solution, but it is stable, and the particles scatter a beam of light passing through it, and the path of light is visible in the solution. Means if you take any heterogeneous solution, if you take any colloidal solution and try to pass a beam of light, you will clearly see the path of light. When you pass a beam of light through any transparent substance, you cannot see light in that substance or solution. You know why? Because actually light particles are invisible. When light falls on any substance, and when it is reflected back to our eyes, then only we can see that light is there. But otherwise, when the light is coming in the entire room, you cannot see that light is coming. You can see it is spread uniformly everywhere. In this slide, you can see the properties of suspension. In suspension, solute particles can be separated by filtration. Another one is solute particles settle down and solution is unstable. You can see in first figure. In this first figure, you can see the solute particles are floating. Okay, and after some time you can see the solute particles are settled down in this figure 2, and you can see two separate layers of its constituent particles. Then in the third figure, you can see when a beam of light is passed through these two solution. The first one is true solution and second one is suspension. In true solution, you cannot see the path of light. See the color of the solution. It looks same in the entire bulk. But in the second figure, you can see the central part is a little lighter. It means it is showing the path of light. Same way here also you can see these two solutions. This is the solution of chalk and water, and this is a tincture iodine. Second one is tincture iodine, which is true solution. So in first one you can clearly see the beam of light, but in second one the beam of light is not visible. You know students, light is invisible. We cannot see light. When light falls on any object and when the rays of light reflects back in our eyes, then we can see that object, but we actually cannot see the path of light. So when a beam of light is passed through a colloidal solution, the colloidal solution scatter the beam of light and the path of light becomes visible in the solution, and this effect is known as Tyndall effect. Now Tyndall effect you can observe in your house also. You in afternoon when sunlight is coming, you close the windows and curtains and just allow a little ray of light to enter the room. You will see the path of light, and in that path of light you will see there are so many dust particles floating. Actually, as such, we do not find any dust particles, but in that beam of light, if you observe carefully, so many dust particles are dancing. So this, and because of this dust particles, the light is scattered. The ray of light which is coming straight is scattered in different direction, and that's why we are able to see the path of light, and the effect which you can see is known as Tyndall effect. Tyndall effect can be seen when light enters a room through a small hole due to scattering of light by dust and smoke particles. Tyndall effect can be seen in a dense forest due to scattering of light by water drops in the mist. So in the second figure, in this figure you can see when a beam of light is coming through a very little gap of window, you can see the path of light is visible, and this is Tyndall effect. In the same way, in this figure you can see in dense forest, light is coming towards the ground, and because of water vapors and mist present in the air, the light rays are scattered. Now what is the meaning of scattering? I hope you must be knowing, but still I will tell you. See, normally light rays travel straight. When it travels straight, it is not visible, but as on the path of light some dust or something is there, what will happen? Light rays will fall and it will be reflected in different direction. This going in different direction is called scattering, and due to this scattering the path of light is visible, and this effect is known as Tyndall effect. Okay, now we will see what is saturated solution. You must have heard about the word saturated, but before explaining this, I'll explain you one small activity. You take 50 ml of water in 2 beakers. Okay, add salt in 1 beaker with continuous stirring till no more salt dissolves in it. Means when you will keep on adding salt and stirring it, a point will come. At one point you have added a salt and you are stirring, but still the salt will remain in the solid form only. It will not dissolve in water. That point, such solution, when you filter that solution and remove that extra salt particles, then the solution which is formed is known as saturated salt solution. It means in that solution now no more salt can be dissolved. The capacity of water to dissolve salt in itself is over now. So such solution is called saturated solution. In the same way, you can make saturated solution of sugar also. Take 50 ml of water in a beaker, add 1 teaspoon sugar, stir it, it will dissolve. Then add another second spoon, stir it, it will dissolve. Keep on adding the sugar and stirring it. One point will come when the solution will not able to dissolve any more sugar. Although you are stirring very hard, but the sugar will remain in the solid state only. When you filter that and remove that solid sugar particles, then the solution which is obtained is known as saturated solution. Saturated solution is the solution which does not have capacity to dissolve solid particles anymore. Right? Now, you know, when we make chashni of gulab jamun, you must have seen your mom first put the water on the stove and then add sugar. Now why she is putting water on the stove? Why she is not directly making that chashni? Because see, once you make saturated solution of sugar by keep on adding sugar in it, okay, once the solution saturated solution is made, it means you are not able to dissolve more sugar. But when you heat that same saturated solution on stove and then add sugar, again the sugar will dissolve. Okay, so it means the solution when heated, when the saturated solution when heated, then again its capacity of dissolving sugar or salt increases. Okay, so when temperature increases, the capacity of a solution to dissolve more solid in it will increase. Okay, now we see the definition of saturated solution. Saturated solution is a solution which cannot dissolve any more of a solute at a given temperature. Why we have to mention given temperature? Because at particular temperature the capacity is will remain same, but if we change the temperature, means if we heat the solution, then the amount of solid which can be dissolved increases. Now what is solubility? Solubility of a substance is the amount of solute present in a saturated solution of substance. Now try to understand this solubility. Suppose you take 50 ml of water, and if you are adding, first you have added 10 gram sugar, it is you are able to dissolve it, then again you add 10 gram sugar, again you are able to dissolve it, again you add 10 gram of sugar, then try to dissolve. So 30 gram of sugar is already dissolved, then again more 10 gram of sugar you dissolve, but it is not dissolving, so you filter and remove that sugar. It means the solubility of this solution in which you have dissolved 30 gram of sugar and now it has become a saturated solution. So this amount of sugar, that is 30 gram, is known as solubility of that sugar solution. But it is 30 gram is at that particular temperature only. It means the solution is able to dissolve 30 gram sugar at that particular temperature only. But if you again boil that solution and then again add more 10 gram sugar, it will easily dissolve. It means the solubility of substance increases with increase in the temperature. If you increase the temperature, you are able to dissolve more amount of solute. The same way unsaturated solution. Unsaturated solution is a solution which can dissolve some more of solute at a given temperature. So means if you take 50 ml of water and add 2 spoons of sugar and dissolve, now you know it has a capacity, its solubility is 30 gram. You can dissolve maximum 30 gram of sugar, but you have dissolved only 10-20 gram. It means it has still capacity to dissolve more sugar. Then such solution is called unsaturated solution. Okay, I hope students you all have understood what is saturated solution and what is solubility. Please go through the textbook once again so to understand this concept. I will come with the next part of the chapter in the next video. Till then, bye.